When then Senate President John McKay came up with this idea, everybody's kind of scratched their head and said, gee, we don't know whether it'll work. Well, not only has it has worked beyond belief, and there are kids and families who are being benefited by the McKay Scholarship Program and also the CDC program, that would never have been able to achieve the level of education that they're achieving now had they been kept in a public school setting.
I brought Kirk with me today because I think this is very important that we discuss the rules that are coming down to change on the scholarship. When I took Kirk, when I found the McKay Scholarship, I found a way to use the McKay money to benefit my son.
I'm Donna Meyer. I'm the coordinator of the Neurodevelopment Program at Champion Preparatory Academy. You just met one of our students. Another former student is my... Oh, Lisa, don't cry. You'll get me crying. It's my daughter, Lisa Meyer. Lisa is a walking miracle. 5 years ago, she had a brain aneurysm and had to have a third of her brain removed.
In the approximately 17,000 children who receive McKay scholarships, the universe of children affected by these new rules, directly affected, in which many of whom we've seen today are somewhere between 37 and 90 families and children who are affected by this.
But we realized at the end of the session that there would be a group of students that were disenfranchised, the homebound kids defined by disability. And I think there was some confusion on homebound by disability, homebound by placement, and home education. And so we worked to support the bill, but we were very disappointed that these children defined by homebound by disability are disenfranchised. So we're very appreciative that this language is back in on this bill. And our position is no child should ever be precluded from a program because of his or her disability. These kids who are homebound by disability oftentimes are severely autistic, have elopement issues, have other types of severe disorders emotionally. Some are severely retarded. And because of their disability, they can't meet the regular and direct contact provision.
For the McKay Scholarship Program, the bill has an exception to the requirement that certain children have regular and direct contact with his or her teacher, provides for a physician's approval for such exception, and a case manager employed by the private school to oversee this.
Thank you, Madam Chair, or Madam Speaker, excuse me. Members, there are so many constituents that I've had come see me that are in these difficult situations. I've had one father come and sit down and say, the school cannot facilitate, whether it's private, public, for my other mother come see me, and her son is severely physically handicapped. And in her opinion, the one thing that keeps him going is his education, is learning, keeping his mind. There is absolutely no physical way this child can go and be in a classroom, again, whether it is private or public. We have to meet the needs of those students as well. There aren't that many, maybe, but whether it's 1 or 100, we need to meet their needs. My heart goes out to these parents who are desperately trying to educate their children, and they feel that they are meeting one roadblock after another. They need this opportunity. If the home situation is the best, then they need to be able to do that. We need to provide these parents and these children with the best educational opportunity that we can. I urge you, members, to look into your heart and support this good bill. Thank you, Representative Altman, for hearing those needs of the people that are most vulnerable.
Representative Legg in debate.
That issue is it takes a village to raise a child. No, it doesn't. It takes a parent. It takes a loving, caring parent to raise that child. And the issue goes to the heart of the matter of this. And the heart of the matter is that we trust parents to do what is in the best interest of their child. What Representative Altman's good bill does in regards to the McKay Scholarships is it empowers that parent who loves that child to see if a homebound service is what's in the best interest of that child. It empowers them to do it. It takes the authority away from the bureaucrats and says, we trust the parent on that for that child's education. I've had the opportunity to sit on these multiple service planning teams, and they are very much needed. But they make recommendations. It's a recommendations. They do not raise the child. The parent raises the child. It does not take a village. It takes a loving parent, and I will support Representative Altman's great bill.
Representative Harrell in debate.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I can tell you this is one of the most important pieces of legislation for children with disabilities. To give those parents, of which you spoke so eloquently, Representative Legg, the choice to make sure that their children get the very best education that is particular to that child. I feel that the component whereby the child may be educated at home is, again, a significant part of this bill. We must allow the health care providers, the psychologists, and the physicians to make those choices, working in concert with the parents. We allow this flexibility in the public school system through the Homebound program. Why should we deny that flexibility to a child on a McKay Scholarship? We need to make sure that those children have all the advantages that any child in the public school system might have. This is a very important bill for those children who are most vulnerable, who need our assistance the very most. And I think the parents and the healthcare providers working together can make the very best choices for that child.
Senator Gates.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, this amendment creates an exception to the requirement that a McKay Scholarship recipient have regular and direct contact with his or her teacher at the school's physical location. For this exception to apply, the student's doctor or psychologist must annually certify that the student's welfare or the welfare of other students in the classroom will be jeopardized if he or she is required to attend class at the school's physical location. The student's case has to be reviewed annually by medical authorities. Thank you very much, Senator Margolis. In the first part of the amendment, the amendment provides that if you have a McKay Scholarship student, who by definition is an ESE student, who has some egregious condition, where the safety of the student or the safety of the other students in the school would be compromised if that student were in the school's physical location, and if that were certified by a medical authority, then the student would not have to receive services at that school's primary site, but could receive services at home. And therefore, the services at home, ma'am, would be provided by educational providers.
Yeah, I rise to object to this amendment, and I know it's well intended. Senator McKay never intended for this to be a homeschool situation. He always said that the student had to go to a bona fide, qualified bricks and sticks location. Because there are things that your heart goes out to. We had the students show up in wheelchairs, you know, that couldn't walk, couldn't talk, that had to have their trachs taken care of. You know, it was pathetic. But as pathetic as it wasn't germane to what the policy was.